Hello and welcome to this week's Pubcast. This week it is, I think, Pubcast number 19. How have we got this far? No idea. I never thought we'd make it to 20. Well, probably never thought we'd make it to 10. But well done everyone for getting here, and well done all you guys out there for watching. What have we been up to this week, guys?
Sweating.
Yeah. Losing weight, all this heat.
Like a navvy's clog.
Sweaty Betty. Not a lot, Gary.
Yeah, we've been hot, Gary.
Yeah,
but now we're cool.
Yeah.
Good start there. Good start.
So we didn't rehearse that at all, did we?
No.
That's not in this spreadsheet.
It's not on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda.
Just in case we'll let everyone else in the little secret here. This week we decided that we were a little bit disorganised last week, weren't we? Let's be fair. And so what we decided to do is we've set up a new little group for ourselves to post topics. And Jamie's done a spreadsheet with little green highlighted things.
No. Mally did the green highlights.
Well, hang on. James, don't say nothing. James, get that up on screen and talk.
Mally's printed it out.
Oh, yeah.
No, right. You can't do anything, can you? Right for bloody wrong. You know, try and help out.
No, this is good. I like it.
This
This
is
is
good,
good.
mate,
Look
yeah.
at this. There we go. Jimmy's. Look at that.
Well, at least it's good to see you using it. Got to organise, you bloody rabble.
That.
This is like analogue. This is like digital versus film. Digital versus
Fantastic.
film.
At least people will appreciate perhaps that we're trying to get a little bit organised. Because we was a little bit flat last week, I must admit. I mean, Jamie, bless him, he drove all that way from the Lake District to come back. He was tired. Mally had man flu. In fact, so I was a bit we had a little chat, Mally, about you last week, and we thought if you don't pull your socks up, we are going to have to replace you with like Bonnie Langford.
Oh, God, he's a hater. Remember her?
You're
more annoying.
I'd tell you something. We went to see a show. We went to New York, me and Helen, quite a while ago. And one thing I wanted to do was go and see a show on Broadway. So we picked Chicago. Didn't have a clue who was in it. And as we kind of got the programme, it was Bonnie Langford. And I had the same thought. I thought, we've come all this way to watch Bonnie Langford.
Refund.
She was fantastic, mate. She was absolutely incredible. So, yeah, I'm not going to knock Bonnie Langford.
Okay.
Did she play the male part? Did she play the male part?
What, penis?
But she's very bendy.
Was she?
She's like a banjo
Are you sure it was Chicago you went to watch and not something else?
She's a human banjo.
Did you have to put your money in a slot and this thing opened up and then it shut down? Not I know.
Imagine going to one of those and getting Bonnie Langford. Oh, Christ.
Oh, I'm not going to. She was really good, and if Bonnie Langford's watching, I'm a huge fan, and get ready to step in at any second.
He's got 50p's with the 2p's waiting for you.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So moving on. I'm not sure how we can. Moving on, we were going to talk about pub names. We've all picked a pub name, haven't we? From everyone's submissions. Oh yeah. We've all picked a pub. You know you have, Mally. We want to say thanks very much. There were loads of submissions. It was absolutely fantastic. But here are the 6 pub names that we are going to go with. So Mally, do you want to go first with yours?
Yes, I chose the very sensible pub name of Gaping Aperture.
Very sensible. Jamie, what do you pick?
Mine was very sensible, and I thought it was quite apt. The Togger's Tavern.
Okay, Darren, what about you, mate?
It was tough because there were so many good names, and it was hard to nail it. But I'm going to go with the Zoom In.
Dave?
Red Lion. I mean the Stop Down Inn.
James, what did you go for?
I went for Rusty Ballhead.
Okay, and the name of the pub?
That's Rusty Ballhead.
Well, I went for personally the Pint and Shoot. Although I did like the Shutter Nutter, but in the end I chose the Pint and Shoot. So what we're going to do is we're going to put those 6 names in a list in the description, and then in the comments we'll sort of number them from 1 to 6. If you guys could put your votes in, and then I assume, we haven't really sorted this out, but I assume the winner the person who named the pub will win something like the gimbal or whatever, and maybe we'll pick someone who voted at random to win something, i.e. Darren's print. Does that sound good? Or the other way around, or something along those lines. Is everyone happy with that?
Yeah,
sounds good.
Yeah, cool.
And I think to be clear, we have no idea who chose those names because we just put it in a long list of names. So unless anybody can actually remember, it was the name rather than the person.
It'll be on the comments, won't it? We can find out who done it on the.
But we did. What I'm saying is, we didn't choose it because of the person. We just chose the name.
Yeah. It was
the only person that I can actually remember who commented was a name that we couldn't use.
Is that Mikey?
And that was Mikey's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do we say it or should we just let people?
No, we do say it. I can't remember it yet.
There is an actual pub, as Dave's pointed out.
Yeah.
In the
is
UK.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was the Cockwell Inn.
Cockwell Inn.
It was close second for me. That.
Yeah.
But the Gaping Aperture was too wide.
Jamie, I didn't point it out. If you read what I put, what I put was till it hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Nice. Missed that one, but there is one.
Because
I found one.
In my very first job, I was told by my boss it was one of these initiation pranks, like water the rubber plant or whatever, or go and buy a bucket of stripy paint. I was told to send a letter to Miss Jane Likes, spelt with a Y, the inn, till it hurts. And I addressed this envelope, and it was only as I was writing it out I realised I'd been had. And it stuck with me all these many decades.
So the other thing that we were planning on doing is we are going to introduce a new feature. I'm not sure it's going to be weekly or whether it's going to be sort of a slightly less often than that. But what we want from you guys, from the viewers, we want your Flickr feeds or your Instagram feeds. And if you post them in the comments below, what we'll do is we'll pick one every time we do the feature. And we'll all go through these feeds and we'll each pick our favourite images out and we'll discuss what we like about them. So if you guys want to put in your Flickr feed in the comments below, maybe next week, maybe the week after, we'll start that feature and we'll see how it goes. Because I think everyone enjoyed the Desert Island discs or Desert Island Gits. I certainly did. You guys did as well, didn't you? Picking on everything. So that's what we're going to do. So right, moving on then. We got our spreadsheet, haven't we? We got our spreadsheet with our subjects on. So the first thing we're going to talk about this week is Mally wanted to discuss this. I think Mally, didn't you, about projects? What projects? Do we have any projects for the future?
I just think projects are an essential part of being a creative kind of person. Any endeavour, pottery, poetry, or even photography if you must.
Poetry?
Yes, poetry. I love a bit of poetry.
I love a bit of poetry.
Yeah, I found out last night, beautifully wrote, eloquently written.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you're very welcome. So any projects, gentlemen? My little project, and it's happened, I've been thinking about this for a while, and I've been leaning that way for a while, looking at film and looking at shooting with film. Why? Nostalgia, going back, maybe inspiration to maybe make me look a bit more, take me time, think about photography in a different way. There's lots and lots and lots of aspects to why I'm considering shooting with film on and off. And I have been thinking about this long before Mr. T. thought about it, and a few other people. It seems to be happening everywhere, so I might not even vlog it. I might just go out and with the camera and take some film shots, and I'm hoping in this little room here to have an enlarger and a little Patterson tank and develop my own stuff, not just take some pictures and get them scanned in. So guys, what do you think about that firstly?
What's the attraction in film then, Mally?
Like I said, I think it's just the idea of
is it the whole process, basically? That's the only part of film that interests me. Perhaps
it's where it comes
different
from, isn't it? It's the heart, it's your roots, if you like. It's like I'm going out shooting, and it's like, so how did we get to this point? And the roots in photography, like, I started with film, but wasn't very good. I was using Ilford 400, and I just experiment. I love contact sheets as well. I think contact sheets are great to just look and mull over and work out where your crops are, and then to put it.
Think of the famous Magnum photographers and
the process,
and the old street thing.
Yeah. Well, that's where I was in Salford. Originally, was shooting a Praktica camera and a Pentax back then, and I do miss that. But I'm wondering about landscape and getting some Fuji 50 Velvia or whatever, and 20 quid for 36 shots. No.
So what's the is it the whole, like, I think what James has said is the whole process of the actual taking of the film images that you are wanting to do this for, or is it the process of developing them, or is it the actual end product and the different feel that you might get from the actual film shot? Is that what's the actual driver behind you thinking, right, I'm going to go and do film?
I think all of them.
Yeah.
I think it's the start, the aesthetics of holding it, putting the film in, preparing to go out. Like you know, if you go out on a night, you'll like get your nice shirt on, and you know, you get your Farah on and put your shoes on and
Farah.
You know what I mean? I think it's a bit of it's almost like a preparation, like to prepare yourself for photography, which I kind of do anyway. When you go out vlogging, we all have our little nuances, don't we? We do something that prepares us for that shoot.
Mine's usually a 2.5 hour drive.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that in the morning. Do
you think you've got to put more thought into it, obviously, because you don't have that LCD review preview in the back of your screen, so you've got to think of what you're doing, you've got to get your external light meter, you've got to get it right, haven't you? And especially if you're talking about limited amount of shots, if you've got a roll of film, you've got to be really careful, haven't you? I suppose you've got to take more time.
But there's the inspiration bell ringing right there, where it's like, it's exciting. This is a one-off chance. It's 36 shots. If I get 2 out of it, I'll be absolutely made up.
You could just turn your LCD review off.
Yeah, well, I've done that. I've done that before. I've done that in the past. I've done that. That is the next stage, like Gary said, where it's then the tactile, the look, the feel, the process, the developing and producing something solely from scratch to... I know you do that digitally, but there's a computer and there's things involved where this is probably something I think I'm looking forward to doing as a technique of learning, of excitement, of exploration, of inspiration, and just to go back to the root of why I actually loved photography originally. Not that I've been finding it hard or anything lately. I just think it'd be nice to go and find and go back to that start of what excited me, what excites anyone. I suppose in photography.
If you've got your roots from there, so I can understand you going back and you're reliving that introduction to photography, aren't you?
Yeah. And it was the Morrison days as well. It was back in the time when it was the Doors, and you know, I was doing things like really wild
90s.
time 90s outside, shooting just crazy images. I had long hair down to here, and
I think you find the Doors were quite a long time.
Oh, they were,
the
but there was the resurgence, wasn't there, in the early 90s, where your Bob Marley's The Doors, you know.
When the film came out, the Oliver Stone film came out as well, if you remember.
Yeah. I was going to ask how old you were for a minute there, because I thought you were a similar age to me. And I was like 1, I think, when he died.
Didn't you do a vlog, Dave, recently where you did something similar to that, where you challenged yourself? You didn't actually have film, but you simulated what it would be like to have a film camera, didn't you?
That's correct, yeah. I did it because somebody suggested it as an idea and I took it up. I don't think if I'd had the idea myself I would have done that. I shot with film back in the late 70s, early 80s. It's how I started, and I have no interest whatsoever in going back to film because, you know, once people that used to ride around on horses, when they invented cars and you could afford a car, what do I need a bloody horse for? But people still to this day ride horses for fun. And it's just a matter of what you might enjoy. I totally get that Mally will get something out of it. I won't, because I don't have a great nostalgia for it. I find it's like having one arm tied behind your back in terms of creativity.
I was going to say, I wonder... Sorry, comment.
No, go on, Gary.
I was going to say, I wonder whether that's the thing. It's the fact that you've done it already. And you know, a lot of people who've maybe done these things that have now moved on appreciate the fact that it's so much easier now because the technology is advanced in whatever, and in this instance we're talking about film photography. So maybe people who haven't done it so much, and I mean I know Maddie said he's done it a bit, but people who haven't done it so much, maybe they want to go and try it out as a almost like kind of like the sort of a bit of a hipster thing, you know, like I'm gonna, you know, when people go back and buy vinyl because they you know, MP3s are sort of virtual, whereas having it holding a piece of vinyl is very tangible, and they so often feel that the sound's richer from that. Maybe that's maybe.
No, I think they'll have a cassette player. They'll have a Sony Walkman with Riders on the Storm and a load of background hiss.
Crackling.
No, I think this is deeper for me. This is much deeper. This is about art. This is about creating something, and a pride, and a way of seeing and looking. Which you do.
Yes, but on
digital.
That...
I'm not separating it from digital, but I think the idea of having the film. So
it's not the end product. It's not the end product, then, isn't it? It's how you get into the end product.
No, the build up to the end product.
Because I think you can replicate.
It's like Darren. It's like Darren made the hide from scratch. So in his back garden, he had nothing to do with bird watching. And then by the end of that video, he had a perfect place to get wonderful shots of wildlife in your garden. And there was that kind of pride and detail and attention and time and care and just a process building to a final product, which then I would like to think I could make something that was equally as good as what Darren did with the camera and a piece of film, and then...
I get that. When it comes to film photography, what you've just said there, Mally, I totally get, because it's not just taking the image or the quality perhaps of the image, it's the whole process. And I think you've got to enjoy, or at least want to attempt to do the whole process from start to finish, you know, that perhaps makes it appealing. Whereas for me, that just doesn't appeal to me, you know, going through that whole process. I just don't feel that I struggle for time anyway at the best of time, let alone introducing that element into my life and into my photography. I think it was something that I would possibly get frustrated with very quickly, but I certainly understand the appeal that you're looking at.
It's like I mean, you're absolutely right, Darren, because people still do oil painting, and you know, you could argue that photography superseded painting. You could argue that multiple colours from oil paint superseded some caveman mucking about with a bit of ox blood or whatever it may be. Things move on, but it doesn't stop people enjoying using a past medium. It just holds no interest for me. And yet the sort of people who I admire as photographers do tend to be very skilled in film. Stephen Irons, for example.
Oh, wonderful.
When you look at some of his work, and it would be almost impossible to replicate it digitally.
Yes.
Some of what he does.
Yes.
The other thing as well... Serious question, Gary,
was just before you said, the other thing about it as well is I do like to do things like this, like the 365. It's not easy. The road is not easy to do. It's challenging. And I quite like that as well.
So a serious question. I'm not trying to lead you down any path here. Just a genuine question. Do you think then that film photography? Do you think that you need to be a better photographer to get the results on film? Because it sounds like the way that you're describing it, like you need to slow down. You need to be more thoughtful. You need to take the whole. Like, if someone, do you think if you said, right, well, I'll take that same approach to my digital photography, do you think that you would up the level of your photography?
No, it could go the other way.
Yeah.
I could do all this and trying to consider with 36 shots, and get back and think, I should have just run around like a maniac and fired 36 shots off, because it could work the other way where it might not be for me. We're talking 1990, 91 when I started film, and I finished using film in 1998 at Salford University. So there was 8 years almost, between 6 to 8 years of having a film camera in my hand. And yeah, there was a lot of rubbish in that, a lot of rubbish, but I did learn a lot, but there was no digital cameras then. So there was no comparison or comparing. And so I actually think going back and doing this, it could fail. I could be sat here in 6 months' time going, anyone want to buy an enlarger in a Patterson tank? Because it's not for everyone. Like you say, Steve O'Neill, he's just... Yeah, Paul C. Smith, who I mentioned last week, even, you know, I'm a Mr. T. He, and there's quite a few people who are dedicated film photographers, and I think that is just in here. I think it's a love. I don't think it's like I'm better than you because I shoot film, because film is where it all comes from. I think it's a romance. It's also an attachment to the light, and I think it's in that person, creative ability, like whether you would use gouache or oils or acrylics, it's whatever medium that you really excites you because the produce is good. So for instance, Rachel Talibert, it takes waves and shoots predominantly seascapes, and I think that's because she's attached to that. Do you understand what I mean? I think that's how it works. Even with a medium, you become attached to it passionately, and it's an outlet, and the results you get. So I'm hoping when I do this, I might get attached to it, and the results are exciting. I'll be like, oh wow, this is something that I could end up, as they say in America, your niche. I don't know. It's fun. It's just fun. It's fun, and it's roots, and it's learning, and it's experimenting, which I love all those.
Has anyone else got any projects going that they're thinking about doing? Anyone else?
Ongoing this year. We've got the Carve project, which is your black and white photography, Yorkshire Dales. I've got one other going, which I haven't really added to it, but I'll probably include some other ones next year, perhaps. And it's good. I think Mally's already touched on it. It allows you just to be a discipline and focus on exactly what subjects and how you take those subjects. But I created a brief for each project, and so far I've kept to it, and it's helped. Hopefully, at the end of it all, I am thinking about doing perhaps a book, a photo book.
Lovely.
So there's an end product.
Yes, lovely that.
Do you not think though that? Oh, I keep doing that. Excuse me.
Oh, clogs are falling off.
Yeah. Do you not think that you limiting yourself a little bit by doing a project? You know, because I've often thought of doing a project, but then I start to think about going down the line. So I was thinking, only the other week I was thinking I'd love to go and do some lone trees in the local area. Go and capture lone trees at different times of the year, make it a project. But then I think, that's kind of shoehorning me into something, and I might 6 months down the line, or 2 weeks down the line, or half an hour down the line, I might think, I don't fancy doing that anymore. And then you feel a bit obliged to continue a project because you've set. Maybe you feel like, well, yeah, you know.
But you don't have to set a time limit to it, do you? You can do it over whatever period of time you want. If you want to just go out and do your lone tree, and then you get the right conditions, and you think, actually, this is a cracking condition for that tree today, I'll go and take it. And then 6 months later, you do another one. It's all, it doesn't need to be within a certain time frame, does it? I've got Holm Fen as I guess you call it a project. I've not made it a formal project. I've not really talked about it, but Holm Fen is the area that I like to shoot, and I would like to do that place in different seasons, different conditions, just to experience those silver birches in those different conditions and show what they look like. That to me is a project, because it's a place I can go back to, I can revisit it, and I can learn what that place looks like in different conditions. So, that's a project in my eyes.
Maybe it's more about the person. Maybe I know that if I give myself a project and then put it out there that I was thinking of doing this project, I'd instantly feel the pressure on myself to start doing the project. So maybe it's about me.
You've got to have your heart in it then, Gary. It's obviously not right, whatever project you choose. Yeah.
But I suppose it depends. Does it not depend on your motivation? I mean, if it's just so that you end up with a body of work on your hard drive, I can see how it might be easy to say, well, so what? But if it's some mechanism by which you're going to share it, or even, turn it into some commercial venture, whether it be through a YouTube channel or whatever it may be, then it has some motivation behind it. And I think at that point it's really important you pick the right project. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't work for you, it's not compulsory.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry too much about it if you go, I tried that, that wasn't working, so what? I have a project on the horizon which has been kicking around for about a year now. I'm thinking of doing a book on photographing Anglesey, because there isn't one. Mm-hmm. And I got in touch with Nick Livesey's publishers and we had a chat, and it wasn't particularly well received. Their attitude was, nobody gives a shit about Anglesey. And I thought, okay, fair enough, you should see my inbox. But that wouldn't necessarily make enough sales so that, I could self-publish. So I've kind of scoped out the locations I might do, chapters 1 through 25 and all that sort of thing. And then lockdown happened. So, but that's what I've got on the horizon. But my motivation is that I'm providing a resource that complements what I currently provide, so that people can get the most out of spending time in this neck of the woods. Because I get so many questions that would be quite easily answered by going, here's a book, or here's a website, or whatever it may be. And, I do location guides and people seem to quite like them. So that would be a motivation for doing it, to help people out. It certainly wouldn't make any money off it. It's a labour of love.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Mm. Talking about books, I can't see how, unless you've got a publisher, I can't see how self-published books work. You look at how much it costs to actually print a book of any, especially a photography book of any decent quality. You'd have to be selling that for a ridiculous amount of money for it to actually work. From what I can see,
buy them in large bulks.
Yeah, but then that's a big risk, isn't it?
Then you're outlaying.
Actually, no, that's not true at all. Tim Day did a book on waterfalls and self-published through Amazon Print on Demand.
But to be fair, his book was, no disrespect to Tim, but his book was a flimsy paperback book. It's not.
You can.
That's what I had in mind.
You can still do short runs digital at a cost-effective price. Obviously, unit cost goes down once you do a volume, but you can still do good quality case-bound books digitally. You can do 100 off quite easily, and that'd cost you about £2 or £3 each.
You can get the zine style as well, and you can do a hardback zine style now. And I think for Let's Create, the winners every week of the competition, I've been really researching this to produce this book as print on demand. And so far, it's coming to around £30, and it's going to be about 60 pages. And I think that's reasonable, and I think people will buy that because they're in it, and I hope they do, and they hold it as a piece of pride. It's a non-for-profit book. It will be at the price on the website that the company charge, and all I'll be doing is my time freely to design and create the book for November. And I think £30, between £30 and £35 is reasonable these days for a hardback coffee table book.
Absolutely, but you're not making any profit.
Is this the mid-roll advert part?
Mid-roll advert?
Mid-roll.
But you're not making any profit on that at all.
No.
So as soon as you start looking at profit margins, the price of that book's going to have to go up to £45, probably. And then are people going to be prepared? And how? I mean, I don't know. What is it? Because for £45, if I was buying a book for £45, I'd be thinking, this has got to be spot on in terms of the quality.
Did you see that Neil Bonnell's released a pre-order on his mystical book of Wisman Woods? I think. Yeah, I haven't seen how much it's cost actually. What the price was?
£30 starts from £30 up to about £90 a limited edition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just want to show a book I've recently bought, and this is quite Paul Wakefield, The Landscape.
Oh,
absolutely fantastic, and it's massive, absolutely massive.
Wonderful book.
That cost me £48.
Yeah,
and it's hard back, really good quality, over 100 pages, full of brilliant photographs.
And you cannot get hold of that book for love and money.
No.
I'm trying. It's very hard to get it, and I saw it for £68. I thought, I'll wait and see if I can get one
I've snipped it
second hand or something. Yeah,
it's very generous of you, James, to offer that as a prize for the pub name as well.
Yeah. He's that sort of person, isn't he?
Yeah. I'm called the Grinch for nothing.
What about you, Darren? You got any projects on the go? What are you thinking of? Or
well, to be honest, I mean, during obviously the lockdown, I moved over from landscape over to wildlife, and since the restrictions have been released a little bit or relaxed a little bit, I've started to get back more into my landscape photography, but I've actually realised that I'm really missing the wildlife.
Ooh.
I had a sneaky suspicion that
You've seen it here first, folks.
I might continue with the wildlife after lockdown, but now I'm thinking, oh crikey, could this be a little bit more than just killing time during lockdown? Am I kind of getting quite hooked with this? And so the last 3 weeks I've been focusing on more of landscape, but I'm missing wildlife. And I just don't know where this is going to take me. This may even lead me in a direction where wildlife is, or landscape is actually competing with wildlife, or vice versa.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, you know, when I can, I like to get out and shoot street photography, and I think there's no reason why your channel can't be a more rounded photography channel. It doesn't have to just be landscape or wildlife. It can be landscape and wildlife, you know?
Yeah.
Well, viewers can choose whether they watch it or not, can't they? Whether it's landscape or wildlife. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I think for me, I've just, I don't know. I just find, I think when I'm in, we was kind of talking a little bit about this before you and Dave joined, different locations, and you know, I'm just the kind of person that really gets inspired by the mountains, and I think if I could get to Snowdonia at the moment, then you know I would, but because I can't, I just find the wildlife exciting in my area. Like when I go walking with Dave, you know, I get a buzz about being in the mountains, and I've realised I'm getting the same buzz when I shoot wildlife, just not knowing what's going to come along, being as quiet as possible.
Yeah,
and you know, it's I just get this, and I've missed the last few weeks because I haven't been shooting it. I've really missed it, and also as well because you don't have to go out for hours and hours on end. You know, I can go 5 minutes from here, you know, where the owl's flying around, or you know, or just and I can perhaps have half an hour before work, before jumping in my van and going. So yeah, the project, I don't know if you can call it a project, I'm just saying it kind of, I'm thinking out loud that I'm just really missing the wildlife, and I'm going to get back on it next week.
Have a look at Steve Mathis. Canadian, between the borders, America and Canada. Shoots a lot of wildlife, but shoots a lot of landscape. Very inspiring.
Well, I've got a video coming out not tomorrow, but in 2 weeks' time, and I really have tried to incorporate my wildlife into my landscape, and it works well. It really did. So, and I've been going to Suffolk a little bit recently, and I've been trying to incorporate some wildlife there. Unfortunately, them trips haven't worked. I can visualise it. I took a really nice landscape image of the River Stour, really kind of dramatic skies. It looked so nice, but there was nothing for your eye to rest on. And I thought, what would look really nice on this river if there was a swan, because there is a swan's nest only, like, you know, kind of about 50 yards from where I was taking this image, but they didn't arrive. So I went all the way back there last weekend, and the swans didn't appear again, you know. So it's very kind of hit and miss. but I am trying to. If I can nail it, then I think that'd be quite a nice compromise to gel the two together.
I was going to say, so hypothetically then, if you were up a mountain and you had some epic light and it was gorgeous conditions, and then all of a sudden you saw, I don't know, you were in the winter and you saw a mountain hare that was on the side of the mountain, and it was a classic shot, and you thought, right, I've got a choice now of an epic shot of that mountain with light, or I've got a mountain hare shot that's absolutely beautiful. Which way would you shoot?
The landscape all day long.
Would you?
Because I'll be in the mountains.
Right.
So the way I'm feeling currently at the moment, I'm not just talking about sitting here tonight, but this period in my life now, it's still the mountains every day for me. But because I can't get to the mountains, the wildlife is the closest that I can get to feeling that buzz when it comes to going out shooting photography, any form of photography,
But I think you make a really interesting point, and it kind of wraps up nicely all the aspects we've been discussing. Is that buzz, is that enthusiasm. So Mally with his film, yourself with your wildlife, James with his project, I'm with you, Darren, on mountains, of course, and we all have something that really floats our boat. And I think that's across the board for all photographers, but also for all creative people. I mean, we talked about oil painting and gouache and acrylics and all that sort of thing. And I think that whatever you have to do to feel creatively fulfilled is worth pursuing, whether it's within the confines of a project or whether it's just get out there and do it, Just don't sit around and think, oh, well, just go try something, because you might find something you really enjoy.
And other people will really enjoy. And full circle, there's nothing better than inspiring people. It just is a wonderful thing. Really
talking about that moves us really nicely onto our next topic, which was about vlogging. So... yeah.
Can I have a wee?
Yeah. He got a really smooth transition there.
I've been waiting for us to change topic, and I'm just sitting here crossing my legs.
So moving on, that toilet break brings us really, smoothly into our next topic that we were going to talk about. So this is one of my questions, and I've been thinking about this quite a lot lately. And the question is, or the subject is do we need to stop vlogging? That's it. No. Do we need to stop vlogging to be recognised for our photography rather than our personality? Because I feel like whenever I watch anybody's vlog, I tend to judge their photographs on their personality rather than the actual photographs. I do tend to gravitate to the better photographers, but I will still, there's still an element of your personality in your photographs. If you like the person, you're more inclined to find their photographs appealing, and if you don't like them, you're more inclined to find them less appealing. Whereas if they're just out there on Twitter and you have no idea, all you see is a username and you have no idea what that person's like, you judge the photographs on their merits.
Okay, so a question and go. Let's say that you stop vlogging today and you spent the next 3 months just purely concentrating on your photography. How would you market yourself?
Well, how would I? It's not about marketing myself. It's how I would expect to see my photography judged, if that makes sense. So I would post on Twitter and I would post on Flickr, but I think what I would have to do, honestly, is I would have to post under another name. And the only way that you can really have your photography judged is if it's separated from your personality, in my opinion.
But you would need to be then. You're talking about like entering competitions and because what I'm saying is, I suppose with YouTube, there's a lot of people that watch YouTube for people's images, obviously. Whereas if you didn't vlog and you wanted to be recognised as a photographer, then you would need to obviously market yourself. So that would need to be through, say, Instagram or Flickr, but I'm not too sure you would attract say like the right audience to critique your photos. So then you would really need to surely go into loads of competitions. So then you started to get a name for yourself.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. I think my issue with it is I get exactly where you're coming from, and I think it would be incredibly difficult for someone who isn't a YouTuber and who isn't prolific in competitions, for instance, to get their work out there. But my issue is more, I was thinking about this the other day. So there's a lot of people on, and I really don't want to make this sound, I've got to be really careful with how I say this because I don't want to alienate viewers, right? But there's a lot of people who watch YouTube, and if they like you, they will tell you what you want to hear. They will say, that was great, that was amazing, this was fantastic, this was brilliant. So there's been loads of times that I've put out a vlog and I've gone, none of your photos are that good and I don't like this vlog at all. But people go, that's great, that's amazing, this is fantastic. It's like you put an image out on Instagram, people know you as a vlogger, and it's so easy just to go, I mean, they've made it ridiculously easy. Tap, 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 tap is a like, tap, tap. They make it easy to like, they make it easy to critique in a split second. I like that person, tap, tap. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the more I look at it nowadays, the more I think I want my photography to be judged objectively and not subjectively. There are certain people, like for instance, James, right? I know that if James says, I like that, he likes it. Because he's quite open to say, I don't like that. But I want that it's really hard to explain, but I want my...
I know what you mean. You're gaining merit because of the photography, not of the character. And you're linking that character, that personality with that photograph. Yeah. There's a lot of high-named, big-name vloggers, for instance, who are very popular on likes such as Instagram, and they get a lot of likes that way. Without that image or that link to their personality, they won't get that many, most likely.
No, I totally agree with that.
Can I just come at this at a different angle? There's a different angle to this. We're looking at this as photographers. There's a lot of people who see your videos, Gary, and like it in the way you've just expressed, that they like it because they're not photographers. They like it because you've done something, that you've created something, you've got off your arse, you've gone out and you've done something, and they like it. Nothing has to be a perfect from a photographer's point of view. I'm finding more and more as I go deeper into this, there's a lot of people who just love seeing people who are creative.
No, I agree. I completely agree with that.
Yeah, no, that's not the point. That's not the point. Yeah. If you put a person, an image you can link to, then you're not going to get as much popular views. Yeah. That's the point.
I want to judge to ascertain my level as a photographer, and I can't.
Vlogging's not the place to do it then.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying.
That's it.
I can't. So for me to get a true reflection of my level as a photographer, I just need to stop vlogging then.
No. There's two separate entities that join together, but you're gonna have two different types of audiences. So if you want to be recognised as a photographer, you need to move in photography areas of photography people.
But then comes the next issue, right?
Go on.
Because if you move in the areas of photography people, they have, let's say, an issue to a level with vloggers. So they would judge me the other way.
So the first thing popped in my head was Stephen King and the Bachman books.
Okay.
Stephen King produced a body of work under the name Bachman. So
like a pseudonym.
Yeah. A separate name. For all you know, I might have one right now. Johnny Bigwellies. Just don't know.
Are you Rachel Talabart?
At the weekend.
Colin Cockwomble.
Yeah. Can you not be both though, Gary? Can you not be recognised as a vlogger and recognised as a good photographer jointly? Why is it got to be one or the other? Because you are.
No, I'm just asking for you as an individual. How do you measure your level of photography? How do you measure that? Because if you try and measure it by YouTube, it doesn't work, because people will go, I love what you did, I like you as a or I hate you as a person, or I like you as a person, I love what you did, therefore my comments are based on you as an individual, and maybe to a part your images, but not necessarily. I want to be I want to know. I don't want to say to someone, I just want to know for myself what level I am as a photographer, because I don't know, and it's so hard when you get people. I'm terrible at taking praise, and when someone on YouTube says that's fantastic, it's like, say for instance, like my mother-in-law, right? My mother-in-law, she loves my photography.
Sounds like a Les Dawson joke.
I was thinking, take my mother-in-law.
No, but she says, every time I post a picture, she said, this is absolutely beautiful and I love it, right? But
it's got taste.
Where's
here's a test then. I know, here's a test. Next time you're on Instagram, flick through, just look at the images, don't look at the name.
That's what I do, though.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I never look at the names. I just look at, I like that, and then I'll look and say, oh, okay, that's so and so. But
that's how come he liked one of mine by accident.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Dave.
I could go somewhere with this, but I
no,
won't.
come on, Mally, go.
Come on, Mally, go somewhere.
Don't
hold back.
Are you ready? I don't want to upset anyone.
Put his organ on.
I might be shit.
No, that's Gary's job.
Yeah. I might be shit as a photographer. Hold on, I'm struggling to get some here. Right, so there's this thing. Right, Shermundies. I know you can't even read it. It's
oh yeah,
it's a cracking little book. Shermundies on Twitter. I do it every week, and I never get anywhere.
I did it on Monday. I didn't know what it was. I did it because you did it.
Right, so here's where what he's saying. I do it every Monday, and I know in my heart, I've put some good pictures out. It's not big-headed, this. This isn't me saying that I'm good, because I know I'm learning. And this is where I get annoyed, that there's no such thing as an expert in photography, right? Now, I'll just take us full circle to Shermundies. I've not a cat in hell's chance of ever getting in that book. Unless someone can say down below.
Hang on.
Unless someone can say down below. Actually, just to get anyone to. Well, when you get through and you win, you go on Wex Mondays, Shermundies, or you go on Photo Speed. And if you go on the Photo Speed one, you get your picture printed out and it goes up in an exhibition at the photography show. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? Come on, all of us here would think that would be wonderful to achieve.
This is on Twitter, by the way, Darren. So your hashtag your image.
Yeah, and I didn't want to go here, but Gary asking this question, in the recess of my tiny little brain, there's been a voice saying, "But you're a vlogger. You're never going to get chosen. You're a vlogger. You're shit." And it's there. There's this constant nagging in the back of my mind saying, "You're never going to make it anywhere in photography." It's just there. Why? Why is it there? I don't know. I can't answer that. I can't say why, because...
this is my exact point now,
Is it a click? Is it because my photography's shit? Is it because I'm just not good enough? And that's the honesty of it. I do think a lot of my photography isn't good enough.
Well, that's the point.
It isn't good enough.
That's the point,
so that's fair enough. That's fair enough. My photography's not good enough.
Oh, he's shouting.
Fine. It's fine.
It may be the fact that your photography doesn't follow a certain style, because there is a certain element.
Maybe if I lay in a field for 6 hours and shot a butterfly at f1.8.
Oh, come on, that was a great shot.
That was a really nice shot.
That was a great shot.
No, wait a minute. His point is there's been a lot of butterfly shots.
There's a lot of... I have seen...
And really shallow depth of field.
To mention a certain person who I think was... He wasn't the originator, no, of course not. But Neil Burnell did a beautiful shot. And he had tried for a long time to get this shot. He perfected it to get this shot. And there's been a lot since. So he's a trendsetter. He created something that people follow, and it's a winning formula.
I'll be honest with you,
That is where I get upset. That is where I do the bounds of vlogging.
So why do you shoot butterflies in Mali?
Because can you imagine me in a butterfly? I'd probably eat it by accident. It'd probably fly in me. That'd be a great shot, though.
I'll be honest with you,
butterfly on my tongue.
I'll be honest with you. There are names on Twitter who could take a photograph of their dump that would win Wex Mondays. And that's a fact. Well, that's not a fact, but there are names on Twitter, and every week you see. I did it last year. I watched it last year. I entered about 3 or 4 times, and then I watched and I looked at a lot of the entries each week, and I thought, there's some really good shots on here, but it's the same names who come up again and again and again and again. And funnily enough, all of those names are quite well known. They're quite well known. And there was
landscape photography of the year subject.
Are they landscape images?
No, not all. Not
always.
I'll tell you for why, because I don't really kind of go to.
Sorry, it costs money. Let me just pick it up.
To Camera Club, but I've been a couple of times. But a friend of mine goes, who's a really good landscape photographer, and every week they kind of have to, enter different photos and doesn't always have to be of a particular genre, just whatever photo you want to enter. And he often says that at the end of the year, 9 times out of 10, it's a wildlife photographer that will win over a landscape photographer. Because I think some people are just naturally attracted to, they would perhaps appreciate an owl hunting more than possibly a great storm over a peak in Snowdonia or the Lake District, for argument's sake.
Camera Club judges, they want, like, I'm a member of a camera club, and they literally say we're crying out for wildlife photographers. The East Anglian Federation, every year after year after year after year, their exhibition winners are of a hare in a field, or a butterfly, or something doing, an animal doing something. You could put in the most amazing landscape and they won't even look at it. Or you could put in a composite image of a woman dressed up as Dracula with a night sky and a waterfall in the foreground. That'll do well as well, probably, or a chessboard or something. Someone dancing on a chessboard, that'll do well. But if you it's true, that's what they look for. But I will say, at least with camera clubs, it's anonymous. It's anonymous judging. They don't know who you are. They come in and there's no names on the images, and all they see is the images, and they judge it on the image. And it might be that a wildlife image always does better, or like I said, a fantasy composite image always does better. But on Twitter, with the likes of Share Mondays and Wex Mondays, it's not. Everyone knows exactly who's entered that photo, and I watch it, and it's the same people every week or every other week. If someone, I'll look and go, oh, so and so's entering a photo, they'll be on the shortlist. Guarantee it. It could be a picture of. It could be a landscape shot, a wildlife shot, a fantasy shot, a shot of a car, a still life shot, a macro shot. It could be anything. If that name's on the list, they'll be on the shortlist, and lo and behold, they always are.
And when you look at the book and you look through the images and you look through it all, don't get me wrong, there's some fantastic photography, very inspiring, and they do a very good job of curating it to a point of a certain style of photography. But I have to say, when you do go through the book, there's 10, 15 names that repeatedly almost go in a cycle, and I hate saying that, because I feel like I'm saying something that I shouldn't.
Who's saying they aren't the better photographers, though?
Pardon?
Who's saying they're not the better photographers? Who's saying they're not producing the better photographs on entering the competition? Because the standard is pretty good.
The standard,
you can't deny that.
It can be pretty good. It can be pretty good. Subject matter, light, a combination of certain things. Aesthetics straight away say that's a good shot. Originality not so. Consideration but, and
Gary, is your issue, and I know it's a question rather than issue, and I don't want it to start back to that. But what you're saying is that as a vlogger, you're not seen in the same level of respect as a photographer than you would be because you're a vlogger. So because you're a vlogger, you're not getting into that level of photography circle respect. But, you know, going back to your original question, are you able to be respected as a photographer whilst being a vlogger, or should you pack up vlogging and start on photography? Then surely that's the question. And whether you get anything recognised on Wex Mondays or share whatever, it's irrespective, really. It's the recognition of that you are yourself improving your photography. You're getting recognised by your peers that your work is great and it's improving, and therefore as a photographer you are improving, irrespective of whether you're vlogging it or not.
It's a game though, isn't it? It's a game though. Let's face it, it's a game, isn't it? It's a game, all of it. All of this is a game, and I ain't playing it. But I'm making my own shit. I'm doing my own stuff, making my own vlogs and making my own photography, and I ain't playing that game. I ain't going sucking no one. I ain't going this, I ain't going that. I do it for myself. Game over.
Keep entering, Mally.
In answer
Keep
to
entering.
What was the answer, Gary?
In answer to you, Jamie.
I'm not.
That Vimto's good stuff.
Yeah, it's really good.
Will you share that? It's
good to have him back from his man.
It's good to see you back.
Come on, Gary.
It's good to have you back, Manny. But in answer to you, firstly, I'll answer James quickly about Wex Mondays and Share Mondays and all of those things. They are better photographers. They are the better photographers, but that's why they're a good standard of photographers. But then I wonder if you get to a certain standard, it doesn't matter what you produce because you're known as a good standard photographer. Does that make sense? So although their photography is at a good level, you could probably drop your level for a week but still do well because you're known as a good photographer. So you're not judging it on the photography; they're judging it on the person. Or you could
put the highest level of photography possible out there, but because you're a vlogger, you've no chance.
Yeah, but in answer to your question, Jamie, I am not moaning or saying I'm not saying that I don't feel respected because I'm a vlogger. I'm saying that because it works the other way, because I get so much praise and so much fantastic this, fantastic that, fantastic shot, this is amazing, that's amazing on my comments on my YouTube, as we all do, that you just don't know where you are because you don't know whether that's accurate or whether it's inaccurate, and you're getting too much praise, if that makes sense. I mean,
but Gary, are you not conflating praise and accuracy? Because at the end of the day, we've discussed it countless times, everything's subjective. Mm-hmm. If a lot of people happen to like what you do and you put it out on a platform that makes it accessible to a lot of people, then you give people some pleasure. They tune in on a Monday lunchtime and they go, I like that. And so I would pose the question to you is, does it matter?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the levels of enjoyment that you get out of it, if you don't have some kind of objective yardstick that's based on some kind of accepted cabal of upper echelon photographers, does it matter?
Well,
and frankly, I'm going to finish. Let me finish.
Cabal? Sorry, cabal.
I'll finish. Go on.
You still come back to this thing that you're doing it voluntarily. You have the option to not do it and just put your photography out there and see what happens, or quite rightly put it out under the Stephen King pseudonym policy and see what happens. The thing about it is, it strikes me, you kind of almost make a rod for your own back by over-analysing it. Just do your photography, have a nice time, chuck it out there and move on.
Yeah,
because that's what I do, and I have no angst over it whatsoever.
You don't need a yardstick.
Of course, I'm making a rod for my own back. That's me. That's what I do.
But what in an ideal world, Gal? In an ideal world, would you like to be a really recognised photographer and stop vlogging? Like, ideally, would you like to be, for I'm saying, like the Rachel Talabarts who doesn't vlog, but everybody kind of obviously knows her name?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't like to be that. I love what I do. I love vlogging. I just would like to know where I am. You're probably never going to know that. No, I know, but
because if people know you, then they know your personality.
Yeah. Do you want me to tell you, Gary, where you are?
And then they're going to judge it. I mean, I've seen.
Do you want me?
Well, like we all have. We've seen certain photographers whoever YouTube channel, as you say, people, and they'll post a photo on Instagram. It might not be particularly great, but they got loads of comments on it purely for the fact that they like the vlogger more than the photo.
I think it does make a difference when you get recognition from your peers or your peers that you respect as well. You mentioned, you guys there, and you mentioned James earlier on as somebody that you'd respect for his honesty. But I was, and I'm not saying this because
is there something you want to share?
No, I wasn't. I'm not saying it because of that. But I did actually have an image that I tweeted this week that got liked and commented by two very well-respected landscape photographers, and that to me was recognition that it was a shot that I knew myself was a cracking shot, but to get that recognition from other people,
that's really nice of Mally and James.
Shot. Well deserved, though.
Yeah, but Mally and James, you've got to respect their opinions.
Cheers, Jamie. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, Jamie, and it's exactly. I can share your feeling because that's happened as well. There's respected photographers who produce high quality images, and when they like it, this is how I judge my photographer. I get my judgment really based on Twitter, because there's some really good photographers on Twitter. If I get a lot of likes, a lot of comments on images I post on Twitter, then that's sort of standard I look for.
Yeah. There you go. So that's that one then, Gary.
Well, I feel warm, glowing.
So post more on Twitter. Post more on Twitter. Enter more competitions.
I do post on Twitter, and I was actually going to say that I've had a couple of comments from the same people that you guys have had comments from, and that does make me feel happier. But then the trouble is the cynical side of me thinks, well, is that because I'm just doing a lot more vlogs and I'm further down the line of being a vlogger, and maybe you just do eventually start to prove that you can produce work of a standard. I don't know, it's very difficult. It's very difficult.
You see, I haven't had any comments from whoever these people are.
You
don't
post
know who
on Twitter,
are,
Dave.
I'm just trying to pretend I don't care.
Yeah, but you don't post on Twitter.
It's all right, Dave. I'm with you on that one.
No, I do post on Twitter. I've only got about 3 followers, so nobody sees it.
The thing is, at the end of it, Van Gogh, there's loads of artists. Did they get any recognition? They do now.
Not on Instagram.
They do now. So does it matter? Does it really matter?
Yeah, but would they have had more if they had a YouTube channel?
Just gonna cut my ear off.
Yeah,
Gary's going to die a sad man though.
Pass
it's got to be done now.
Rusty spoon.
I don't know.
Rusty Ballhead.
I guess you just think. You want to improve as a photographer, but you want to know where you are. I like the work I do, but I don't know if it could be.
Yeah, but you've hit the nail on the head there. You like the work that you do. Is that Is that not enough?
No, I want everyone else to.
It's not for a lot of people. It's not. No.
I must admit, I've been out quite a lot over the last. Well, I say quite a lot. I've been out quite a lot over the last 4 weeks without the vlogging rig. I've probably gone out. It's probably been about 50-50. I've gone out without my vlogging gear. I'd say 50% obviously with it. Now up until, I don't know, let's say 2 months ago, I wouldn't go anywhere without my vlogging gear. But now I am starting to go out without it more and more. I'm starting to, not say care less about vlogging, less and less, but I'm just really enjoying the photography. And for me, I'm getting more enjoyment out of the photography than I am the vlogging. Doesn't mean to say I don't enjoy vlogging, but I'm getting more enjoyment out of the photography.
Do you feel your standards increase then, Darren? Each time you come back, if you're not vlogging, is a big question. Do you think the standard of your photography is better or not?
No, I don't feel that my standard of photography has improved. I kind of feel that I've had a better experience from my time out
purely on photography
because I'm focused, and I'm, just listening and just watching. I'm just the whole experience of being behind the camera has been more enjoyable than if I've got to concentrate on talking to a vlogging camera as well.
I suppose it's harder as well, especially if you're focusing on wildlife because it moves that quick. It's making the enjoyment harder to be achieved, isn't it?
Yeah.
Think about videos.
But I don't think there's a single vlogger that would say that when they're actually vlogging that they're feeling better about their photography. I think we accept that it has an impact on our enjoyment of the session because it's more work. There's no two ways about it. And in some respects, that's what annoys me a little bit when people denigrate what we do as if, oh yeah, you're not a very good photographer. No, but I was doing a bloody film at the same time, you dozy twat. So, do you know what I mean?
Do you feel that we get to the point, like, I wonder, in the back of my mind, I wonder whether I've gotten to the point as a photographer where I feel like I need to not vlog and concentrate more on the photography as I'm improving. You know?
Try it for a while then. Why don't you just try it for a while?
Yeah.
Pack your video stuff away.
A new project, Gary. A new project.
Yeah.
Photography without videography.
But then I really enjoy the process of vlogging, and it's like it's a real. That's the problem. It's the conflict between the two. Like I went out the other day, and I was the vlog that's going to come out on Monday. I went out and I got into the woods, and I just thought, I don't even want to vlog this. I don't want to vlog it. I'm happy just with the camera and taking shots, but then I ended up vlogging it, and you move on. But
because you felt you missed out.
Yeah. Do you feel that you feel maybe that as vloggers, maybe we all started off and we weren't so good at photography, and now we've reached a level of photography where you think, I don't want to vlog it anymore because I feel like I need to focus more to push on to that next level of photography. Do you know what I mean?
I think because I've got a wider audience out there through my channel. I think my standards got to improve because I've got a wider audience.
Yeah.
But here's something that we could consider as vloggers. The extent to which you set the camera up and say, hello, and thank you for joining me. And you've got to get that B-roll. What if you just took pictures and having bagged the pictures, you switch on the video and you go, well, what I've been up to is this. Because that would be really, really easy. It wouldn't impact on the photography at all. But you know perfectly well, people would write in and say, I like you walking past the camera. I like seeing what exactly.
See what I do?
I've been doing
you can do that after you get the shot. I do. I always find the composition, do the B-roll, find the shot first, then I walk past camera several times, often 2 miles down the road, then come back and I'm knackered.
You see, for me, I don't always. Well, I know it sounds a bit crazy. I don't watch people's channels for their photography, but if I just wanted to look at their photography, I'd just go on their Flickr feed. I like the videos because I like to see the surroundings. I like to get ideas. Jamie's inspired me so much since lockdown because he shoots the fens. So straight away I'm thinking, right, where can I go the weekend? Let's go onto Jamie's channel. I'll look what's about. You know, I think vlogging is so much more to vlogging than just saying pretty pictures. Because if it was all about pretty pictures, we wouldn't have a channel. We'd just have a Flickr feed.
Yeah.
I get down, and I think we all get down, and I don't think it's anything to do with
get down.
It's what James said though. It's what's up?
Can you do a Stevie Wonder impression again?
Come on, go on, do your Stevie. Come on, do your Stevie.
I can't do that.
I just called.
Oh, where's my sunglasses?
Where's the glasses?
Hold that thought.
I think it's like James said about pushing and reaching and trying harder and to perfect what you're doing, whatever it may be in your mind. Because each and every one of us has a different idea of what we perceive is good or what we go out and do. It's completely different in each and every one of us, in everyone in the whole world. We all perceive things completely differently. And where I have the problem is when it's you're put in a box and told this is what's right. This is how I need to do it to tick a box and become this, or to be accepted, or to become known, or to be my peers to say well done. I'm sorry, but what's in my head is my head and it's no one else's. If people like it, well,
So
come
Mally,
come on, Stevie.
It's Ebony or Ivory. Ivory is what you're saying then, is it? Yeah. There's a cue there. Yeah.
It's a big cue.
Whose glasses are they?
Mine.
Have you got a cataracts?
You look like Dennis Taylor. He looks like Dennis Taylor.
They're our lasses. They're our missuses back from 1983 or something.
I thought that was a brilliant impression of Peterson Lee.
Crikey, Dave, you're going back now.
Roy
Peterson Lee.
Bug's Life.
Oh dear. I've got something I wanted to say really quickly. Vlog of the week. We were going to talk about our favourite vlogs. I don't know if any of you guys have got one, but I've got one that was really good this week. It was from a guy called Stu McKenzie. Has anyone heard of Stu McKenzie? No? Okay, no. So he's pretty new. He's only got 65 subscribers. Now, I'm pretty sure he's a decent photographer. I think looking at his website, I think he was a cameraman for the BBC or something as well. But he was in the army and he was talking about PTSD in this vlog and about how photography's brought him back from the edge. And if you guys get a chance to watch it, I really recommend it. It was excellent. And the vlog was actually called Photographic Therapy, and it was a guy called Stu McKenzie. So, it's not massively long, and there's a little intro beforehand, and then there's a little bit of the actual vlog itself. And I thought it was really powerful, and he actually made the vlog to show his family, to explain to them how he was feeling, and I thought it was excellent. So, hats off to him. Excellent vlog. I don't know if you guys have got.
And what was the name of the vlog again, Gary?
It's called Photographic Therapy by Stu McKenzie.
Drop a link in the description.
I will do. I'll drop a link in the description. And he looks quite a good photographer as well. So, any of you guys got anything this week? Yeah, there you go. That's it, Mally.
I quite like watching Jay Gilmore's sort of short films because he's dropped another one.
He's just busted me.
Oh, sorry, Dave. He dropped another one this week, did he? Ode to the Sea, was it? Something like that. It was only a short film, but he's
get the name right. Come on. Ode
to the Sea, I wrote down.
No, it's not Ode to the Sea.
And the rest.
Oh, okay, that's the only bit I wrote down. Go on then. What? Give me. I'll hand this over to David then, because he's got a better critique.
Oh shit! I got to look it up really quick now. Ode to the Sea, and you never got good at it if it was smooth sailing. Or something along those lines.
Yes,
smooth sea
never makes a good sailor or something.
Yeah. That's exactly what I said.
So we all got it wrong.
So nothing like what Jamie said in the first place.
No, nothing at all.
He's actually very good.
Jamie is absolutely right. Jay Gilmore produces some amazing short films. They're not vlogs. They're works of art. He's done a couple recently. I mean, this week's was really good, but some of the ones he's done previously have been absolutely jaw-dropping.
Yeah,
very, very talented guy.
Yeah.
And he hides his light under a bushel. And, you know, if you're at a loose end, just get around and have a look at Jay's stuff.
Another guy who's got very few subs for...
Bushel.
I can't help being eloquent.
You never heard that
Did
before?
we find out Cabal, James, not James.
Is that with a K?
Clive Barker wrote a book called Cabal, and it was a wonder. I'm in a very horror writers.
He wrote Hellraiser. Did he not?
He did a book called Cabal as well, and the film called Cabal.
Anyway, Jay Gilmore's he's a very good and very underrated or underexposed vlogger. He's very good. And,
I'm just looking at it. It is called Ode to the Sea.
Thank you, Darren.
It is. Jay Gilmore, Ode to the Sea, a short film,
and
Northeast. That's it.
And?
No, there is no and. Ode to the Sea.
I think you're referring to the thumbnail.
Thumbnail.
No, I'm reading the description.
Well, if you can't memorise the thumbnail, what's the point of making them?
Thumbnails are really important.
Has anyone else got one? Has anyone else got a vlog?
Camera conspiracies.
I was just about to say that.
He's off his tape.
He's brilliant, isn't he?
Just off his head.
I love him.
Tony, a bit of Tony 1.4. The Tony Northrop, Bokeh. Yeah.
Do you know, when I first watched him, I couldn't stand him. But now I think he's...
Focus. Am I in focus?
I think he's brilliant now. I really enjoy his stuff. It's really good.
He's got another channel called Vegetable Police as well. That's all about healthy eating.
Yeah. He is. If
so none of us will watch that one.
If anyone doesn't watch Camera Conspiracies, then just give it a watch. Even if you're not after a particular brand of camera, his reviews are just fantastic.
With that, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We're going to end it here. I really appreciate everyone's views, everyone's comments. Oh, and actually, if you've got a question that you want us to answer or a topic that you want us to talk about, we are more than happy to read through them and then go, nope. Oh, maybe that one. No. So if you want to post them in the comments below, please feel free. Anyway, hope you've had, as good an evening as we have. And until next week, thanks so much for watching, and we'll all see you again soon.
See you
later.
See ya. Bye bye.
Ta-da.